What's up? What's up? I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. What's up, Arthur and Wes? Also, let me know if this mic's too loud. I added some more settings on it. Indices are giving weird price action this morning. I was ideally wanting a raid to the downside first. DXY definitely, this thing likes to never stop, but it seems as if we've taken out this high on the dollar. We are very close to these weekly targets we've had for a while, but and what's up, Xavier? But I just realized my mic was muted in the Discord. Sorry about that. But yeah, so DXY seems to have taken out this high. So, that being said, we are close to the weekly targets, but I could see a little bit of a down move, maybe for some relief for anything, indices, anything with US dollar at the end of it. But if we do get that, I would look for a reversal down here in this imbalance right here. It's pretty picture perfect, got a clean low right above it. And then that could probably be around non-farm payroll time. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. The thing of the indices I've been watching is I wanted to take a sell over here, but it's just against my bias too much. This was a pretty clear sell to me as far as the fact we came above a high. 1, 2, 3 drives, displacement break of structure. Price came to the fair value gap and reacted pretty nice. We did have some, I think it was like some medium or low impact news, and price rushed back above, and now we've seen a displacement break of structure to the downside. The reason that I was kind of hesitant and didn't take it is we came down and filled this weekly imbalance. So I don't have enough data and just yet to say that the bias would be to go bullish. We did come into a discount for a rather short amount of time on the weekly chart of this impulse move, and we could see a relief. So for indices, where we're at now, we've taken out the equal lows. We've came into the imbalance in the daily. On the weekly, we filled it. So, we're at equilibrium. So that being said, I could see some relief, but I haven't gotten anything to tell me that that's what's going on yet. So I need to see price, consolidate and at least give me some form in some fashion from show me its hand, essentially. Now, this morning, I will tell you that this looks more bearish to me, right? You have this move up above this high, and then we have this distribution and price is expanding the downside. Again, it kind of faked. I'm sure some people took an L right here. I almost did. I was going to sell off this fair value gap, actually. But price came right above that, stopped those traders out, and now it's expanding to the downside. Really no entry for me, at least what I would have taken if I was going to take it, would have given yet. But and it's a little late in the morning for this setup as well. Again, I think today is a better day for indices to kind of just let them show us their hand because, yes, I think everybody's like buy the dip mentality after Friday's mayhem. But I think that when we get in those modes, it's a little dangerous to do so because I think that is the common desire is to see upside. So, I do still see potential for us to go down maybe into this candle right here, just under, it'd be 400 on SPY or it's like or 396, not 400, but under the 400 mark. There's an imbalance here that I could see price drawing towards. But again, I'm just going to give it a day to see how we close. If we have an impulse move down, that'll tell me that price is reaching for something lower. And there's this weekly order block down here as well. So again, pretty indecisive point for both indices. But we do have an imbalance just below that I could see price pull into. I think the common narrative right now is, buy the dip, which I could see that as well. It's definitely reasonable. But I wanted to push under some of these lows in the morning. But like we went over before, you're going to be able to tell oftentimes the intentions of the market within the first 3 5-minute candles. And this morning, that's exactly what we saw. We saw a push to the upside and then an expansion of the downside. So that tells me that, price rated this high, came up into, looks like this imbalance, maybe something a little higher on a 1 hour time frame. Yeah, it looks like it came up all the way almost to the end of this imbalance. So that would lead me to say that bearish order flow is still in play. It's, again, too early to call that for sure. So indices, really, we're at a decisive point. When we're at these decisional points, we've went over this before. A lot of times it's better to wait until the market shows you its hand, and then you are better equipped to make a confident decision in your bias. Back to euro dollar. Now, this one, for me, we talked about this on Friday. This candle close, I don't like that. Right, but we had a pretty nice move with London session this morning and into New York. Now, there are some, I was actually wanting to get a move down into this whenever I was watching this morning, but we didn't get that, or even under this low when I came in for the New York session. But we didn't get either of those. We reacted pretty rough to this fair value gap above these equal highs. So it's a little conflicting here as well. When we look at this on the 1 hour, I could see this potentially being a redistribution because we're building up that liquidity under all these lows. And the daily bias after that last close, for me, I wanted to see lower, even though I know we came under an old low. But you got to be cognizant that, yes, we came under the old low, but we went back into a premium of the impulse move that took the low. So that could, would tell me, okay, prices return back up to where there's orders, and now we could continue down. And this pump today could have just been mitigating where those orders resided. The orders after we came up and mitigated the higher time frame. So overall on EU, I would still look for the lows to get taken, all these right here. So I would say the weekly bias on the weekly candle, it's at these decisive points where if I'm just looking at the weekly, I could see a weekly close bullish. Because I could, we came down, we took out this low into the monthly order block. So that would lead me to look for a retrace back up into either this weekly imbalance or the daily imbalance I have at 10145. But overall, this daily balance, I could see the low getting taken. Now, if we close a candle like this, I'll say we're drawing to the upside, and that weekly candle is forming structure. But because we already have formed a wick down here. So a lot of times, if the weekly bias is to move bullish, we will see that wick form early in the week, Monday or Tuesday, and then see a continuation of the upside. Or not a continuation, I'm sorry, a reversal. Opposite of a continuation. Dollar yen, I think she wants these highs. Now, again, we have to take this with a grain of salt. We did take this daily high right here. Now, if we get the 4 hour, I don't see anything really of any, interest as far as an imbalance above this high. Go to the 1 hour. There's nothing really much as well, except a lot of liquidity built up above these highs. So dollar strength index leads me to look lower, but I think the dollar yen will still come up and take this high, and then we could have some short scenario play out. GU, I like this setup better than euro dollar. See how it's done already, what we've seen happen here. So that would tell me that this is potentially becoming accumulated. If EU is making a higher low on the daily, and then GU is making a lower low, that could lead us to a narrative where the pound is being pushed down against the dollar to be accumulated. So again, I think it's still at a decisional point. If we can close this day, it doesn't have to be a bullish close, but close it looking like where we're at right now. That would lead me to look for longs, but again, I think it's too early. This Monday, after we had all that insanity on Friday, usually once you have that kind of craziness, it's going to take a second for the market to find its ground and give us a chance to determine a clear bias, because everybody wants to buy the dip, which it's reasonable, but we want to find a reason more than just the fact that oh, we dumped, we should pump. So again, a lot of the stuff we're looking at is still in I guess like a shell-shocked mode, because whenever the Fed talks like that, it doesn't matter if it's the U.S. stock market, it doesn't matter if it's crypto or for any forex pair, even those not denominated by the dollar, because the dollar is the world's reserve currency. And whenever we have a high impact news event that leads to more of a risk off scenario like Friday did, everything is going to be affected. Everybody's kind of waiting till the smoke clears to see what's everybody with the market makers, I should say. EJ is another trade that I want to go over. So EJ came up and took this high. I can't remember if we went over this on stream or not, but I've been watching this high to get taken right here. And we're into this, I think it's a daily supply candle, but if we go into a 4-hour, we didn't quite come into it just yet. We tapped kind of just right off of it. So I think that we could potentially have a selling scenario here. I think it's still developing, but this is definitely one I would keep eyes on, is Euro JPY for some sells. I think Japan has employment numbers tonight as well, which could give more of a clear direction. Because if they are, for instance, better than expected, we could see the yen make a move. Dollar CAD. So the weekly bias here for me is bullish. I think the weekly is clearly drawing to this high. But the daily, I could see, because we took out these highs right here, I could potentially see a move down, maybe close here and then it create an imbalance, and that would be where the opportunities would arise. But again, everything's at a pretty indecisive moment. What's up, Yosef? Also, let me look. You did well. Oh, you took that sell, I'm guessing. Is that what you're saying, Haas? It was good, honestly. I mean, I think that it looked good. And it's, I think the bias overall, that sell bias, I mean, it was, that was just max manipulation, if you want my honest opinion. Still even see a move back up into premium here, but to me, the order flow here is bearish for the morning. What's up, Adaliki? But what's Nas doing? Yeah, everything got manipulated hard right there.
Nas is being a bitch.
Gold. This is another setup I'm going to be watching this week again. I like the way we're coming off this low. I think we could see price push up, like depending on how this daily candle closes, if we still leave this imbalance, which I think we will. I could easily see a push up into this right here. I think I need to move this. Yeah. This morning we came off of that low, and we saw this nice little 3 drives on a 15-minute. I got left behind hard on this one, misordered big time. I wanted to push back down to this imbalance, but it just started to go. Gold does gold things, so can't be mad at it, whatever. But the bias was correct, at least as far as for the morning. I think the weekly candle, though, is going to close down. So overall, the whole weekly bias, I think we will end up closing down. I think we're drawing to this low down here at 1680. So much liquidity under all these lows. So that's where I see us going to at the end of the week. Not all the way down there, but I see us moving down. But I do see a potential for us to move, create that wick initially. But I think she's getting close to be ready for death. Also, my weekend was great. How was yours? I have not gone over GJ or Bitcoin. Somebody said ETH, liquidate into daily imbalance. Yeah. Well, might as well go over crypto now. So overall, I think that we're going to see some relief here. I'm looking at the most recent impulse move. I would look probably towards this imbalance right here. So that's 20,822 to 21K flat on perps. This is just up to the first price delivery array in a premium of the impulse move that pushed us down into the POI. So, I mean, we could go higher, but I'm not going to get super greedy with it. I think that overall, the order flow is still pretty bearish on the higher time frames. Like the daily to me is no question bearish, but I do think we need to come up and mitigate. Now, last time we waited for a premium, we didn't even see that. So another scenario, whenever we have that form of movement here, we leave a lot of inefficiency up above. So we have equal highs right there. I'm going to go ahead and mark that up. So, overall, a conservative outlook would be to come back up into this fair value gap. But when I am looking at the daily, I see a massive imbalance here with equal highs right below it. So I like this scenario better for, if I wanted to sell, I'd probably wait till up here. But I think Bitcoin looks cleaner than indices right now, in my opinion, for some upside. But we'll see. Again, I'd be cautious. The overall order flow here is bearish. So don't get excited and think, bull run, because we had that 3 drive into the weekly imbalance, massive move away from us. So that tells me that price action is still bearish, but I do like these highs, 21,925. So overall bias for Bitcoin on the weekly, though, I would still see us closing bearish. I don't know how this got moved down into these equal lows. But I could see a push up first, which would give us that wick on the weekly candle. So overall weekly outlook on mostly everything is still pretty bearish, just because I see the draw under us under these lows. Really, even that low would be fine. But the dailies, I could see a push to the upside. Now, with the weekly on the S&P, I see this as our impulse move. So if order flow is to remain bullish, which I don't think it will. But if we are going to reverse, it will be right here in this zone, because we came down to a discount. We filled the weekly imbalance. If there's any hope for bulls, we should see some movement here. And now, where would we go? I mean, if we started to see a move to the upside, I would look for cleaning out that high and coming to the imbalance. But there's also a monthly order block up there as well. So it's definitely a possibility. But again, after that kind of hellstorm, I think that it's better to just bide your time and give the market time to show you what it wants to do, because there's no point in rushing it. Remember, we're not trying to catch the bottom. We're just trying to establish a bias as day traders. ETH. So I said, how about 1350, 1370 for ETH? So, I mean, again, we took out this, delete this. We took out this imbalance right here. Refilled that in prices showing desire to go up. ETH, I don't see a reason to really, we came up and mitigated that, not into a, fully into a premium, but closer than Bitcoin. Like, this is cleaner price action, in my opinion, as far as a bearish narrative. So I would look for, signs of reversal somewhere in a premium of this fair value gap. Let's go to a 4 hour and see if we can find something cleaner. Now, I always just mark the first. If I can't find on the time frame I'm looking at, I look at the first zone that I can find on the next lower time frame that's in a premium. So overall for Ethereum, I would say the weekly bias is still down, because I don't see any reason like this weekly candle to reverse here. Now, anything can happen, but the way I see it, the next draw on liquidity for the weekly is going to be this imbalance around 1277. So overall daily bias, I think that we could see up movement, which we already really have, but indices are looking like they went lower. After that kind of move, it's just kind of, tells me that the bearish order flow is still in place. They said euro short for 40 pips right now. What are you short in euro? What? Dollar? The euro yen looks like it's about ready for death too. Somebody said, Braden said potential gold shorts, premium imbalance filled. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. We had a nice impulsive move into it as well. Really, that whole little buy to sell range. I could see it. I mean, I would want, if I wanted to like swing anything, I would wait for move under this with displacement. But I can definitely see what you're seeing. Euro yen's gearing up as well. Oh yeah, euro, US dollar. Yeah, there was a 15-minute fair value gap that was pretty clean here. Yeah, right there. That was fucking nice. You're probably going down for this low. So depending on how we close here, I mean, I could see some relief here, but if we close the day bullish, the dollar just is unstoppable. And overall, though, I think that the overall price target is still between this 109.77 and 110.26. I'll look at the yen. Oh yeah, the yen's drawing down. It's crazy how fucked up the yen is. get low of those little, or get rid of these little buttons down here. I don't ever use them. So yeah, overall setups though that I'm watching, another one is Aussie dollar. So we came down and we took out these lows and came up them pretty nice into this order block, which we already kind of mitigated. This candle right here, had shelved off of it before, but I could see a potential for some relief to the upside. But looking at the weekly candle, you know, I could easily see us coming up into this high up here, right? Because I think there's still, I know there's a daily imbalance. There might even still be a very small, no, it's really nothing on the weekly. But we took out these lows here. Daily also just took out an old low, which is, it's the same low. But again, it's hard to really be super direct after the kind of move we had on Friday. You know, that would lead us into a bullish scenario for DXY and, you know, bearish scenario for basically everything with dollar at the end of it. You know, we've been talking about as soon as we came up over these highs that, you know, the party could be over. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to happen this fast, but that tells me that, you know, a large force is in play moving price down here. I think SPY came down to where originally I had wanted it to. No, it's not there yet. Ideally, I want it to come back down into this imbalance. A lot of liquidity above. I wanted to go down there first, though, if we were going to see a bullish narrative for the day. Somebody said, can I please check 1350 to 1370 area for ETH? And when we mitigate fair value gap, do we likely get the order block mitigation later too? I'm not sure what exactly where you're talking about, to be honest with you. You tried this right here. Now it's not 13. So 1350 to 1370. I'm honestly not sure what you're talking about. If you give me a little more clarity on that, Carl, that'd be dope. I'll try to help out. They said, what's my thoughts on GA? You mean GBP odd? Is that what you're saying? Honestly, I've never even traded that pair. I mean, you could see some relief here. Weekly's taking out lows, but it's not really showing the desire on a weekly. So the 2017 lows on GA, all this down here. I mean, that could definitely be appealing. But I do look at it from the perspective that we've taken out a lot of liquidity here, and we are touching down into this monthly order block, or probably equilibrium of a multi-month order block. That's a little above it. So potential to see some relief here. And POC. Yeah, I'm not a huge, I don't really use POC too much. I know a lot of people that use it to great success, but so the daily, I mean, I would look for a retracement up into this imbalance right here on the daily. So if anything, I would look for more of a long scenario just to kind of come up and rebalance price after this move to the downside. That's the only imbalance I really see. That's kind of what I would be looking for in that sense. Now, where would I look for that to? I mean, it's not really leaving the kind of imbalances I would want. I don't trade this pair, but you're reacting pretty nicely off this fair value gap in the 1 hour. Seems like price kind of consolidated up here, pushed to the downside, liquidated all the longs that had accumulated within this range. Now you have some relatively equal highs up above. So buy side liquidity above that high is where I would be looking. Not really any imbalances made on the way down that aren't mitigated. So, I mean, you could see a little bit of an up scenario here. Carl, let me go back to ETH for you. But yeah, overall GBP odd, I would look for some relief up towards these areas up here. He said order block around 1350 to 1370 area on 1 hour. Okay, so over here. I mean, I'll be honest, I wouldn't have a ton of attention there, but I mean, you'll probably get some reaction off of this fair value gap, but that's not really. If we get down that low, I'm looking for that low to get taken. That's just me, but I wouldn't pay it too much mind. One thing I've learned with like going back and trying to find POIs that are super refined from a long time ago, it can be useful, but you have to do it with the cognizance that there is no guarantee that zone will get hit. And maybe the POI that got hit, your narrative's playing out and it goes back up into a premium. And then you're waiting for that, that to play out, and it comes down and just stops you out when really the play already unfolded, but you were just focused on that single POI. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case with this, specific price model, but I mean, with crypto, I think that, let's see. I mean, it looks decent though, because it's really a 4-hour order block right here too with these lows under it. So, I mean, I like it. I like the zone. So I could see that as, where price would be going if we go back up into a premium here first, and kind of come up. I could also see it as a point where, price might reverse and go into it. So, if we start to move to the downside, you could build that idea that that's what we're drawing towards. I will say, I mean, once you get that close to that clean low, it could be protected, but I would almost look for it to get taken. Ideally what I would want is something more along the lines of, push up into here and then a move down and take out that low. But really what's going to, be the deciding factor for that for me is if we go into a premium. Because if we don't go into a premium of any of these zones, then I start to see that as, inefficiencies and orders are residing still. So once we come back down to an area where, enough longs have been exhausted and there's enough sell side liquidity for market makers to push price back up to mitigate the orders that are residing above, that's the kind of zone it would happen from. Also, I appreciate it, Baxter. I appreciate you coming through and watching the stream. So I said CHZ. I mean, you're consolidating within this fair value gap. I don't know what it is with this coin recently, but it's been on a fucking tear. I mean, it seems like you came down and took that low. Oops. Which is nice. If you got equal highs above, I mean, this looks like it wants higher, in my opinion. Maybe like a 4-hour. And you came off that low pretty nice too. The problem is you're not really leaving any imbalances. So, let's just say price comes up into, this little range like that. We could just see a lower low because these, while that low did get taken, these are still relatively equal. A lot of stop losses are going to be remaining there. I mean, looking at the daily, it tells me that it wants these highs up here. That's, I'd build ideas around that. But what I would do if I was trying to trade is I'd wait for, liquidity to get rated. The only zone that I really see of interest would be this order block right there, and they got that fair value gap right in front of it. So that could be of interest here. I'll mark that. I'll mark an alert on it. Surprised Bitcoin hasn't started following indices down yet, to be honest. Even the equal highs right below that fair value gap. Potential long setup if we can get displacement to the upside. Somebody's sorry. Somebody said, do I ever use a trade copier with funded accounts? I think that there is benefits and downsides to doing that. What I would recommend, or what my plan is I want to get the next challenge I'm going to do is going to be True Forex funds, and I want to utilize that for crypto because their spreads, from what I've heard, are very good, and then maybe use MFF for indices, that sort of thing. That's the way I personally would do it. I mean, a copier could go well, but the only problem with that is levels are going to be different on all brokers. Sometimes the spreads widen more on certain brokers depending on what asset class you're in. The contract sizes are different across some brokers. I mean, to be fair, they're the same on most, but there's a lot of different variables that could create problems there. And I don't like the idea of not managing it directly. So I would rather just trade on one account for, one thing, or maybe trade, once you're funded on all of them, trade, to get your goal. And then once you hit your goal, you start to, maybe take or use the different account. That's the way I would do it. Somebody said, I tried to find an entry using SMC on Euro USD from today's low, but couldn't find one. Can you see if I can find a setup? Yeah. So, I think the only setup here was during London, and it would have been right here. You can see how you had, price came down, you got that change of character. You were in this old demand zone, and you had that sweep order block, whatever you want to call it, basically just a demand zone. You could call this whole range. You could have traded off either one of them and been pretty profitable. Now, where you would have taken it would be just somewhere into a premium here. Probably would have taken it off around this area. But that's where the entry I see was. And yeah, ask for anything, Mataliki. Also, I appreciate you stopping in, Baxter. Yeah, gold didn't get under that low. I could see probably another move to the upside. I find myself more often than not on Mondays kind of sidelined, because lately it seems like we've had a lot of volatile moves over the weekend in crypto or on Fridays. So it kind of leaves us where you want to wait to see what are the actual intentions after this. Is smart money buying the dip, or are they just engineering liquidity to go down further? Looking at ETH recent pump that happened at 7 a.m. New York time. Can you tell me how you'd have taken that trade? I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have. That's just me. But the way I would have what I would have looked for would have been, I mean, I guess theoretically you could say, okay, we got to break a structure there, or shift in market structure, and then look for the, first price delivery rate and a discount. I wouldn't have really seen that or taken it because, that's the only fair value gap in a discount. But then looking here, there is, under these lows, there's a tiny little gap there. I mean, that would have been really the only entry I would have seen. So, I mean, I wouldn't beat yourself up for not catching it. If anything, I would just watch for, maybe a return down into one of these fair value gaps. Probably this one. And depending on where this impulse move stops, if it moves higher and, leaves another fair value gap in a discount, which I don't see how it would, but you could, look there. But so EJ is giving potential sell setup here. I guess really the actual sell side will be down here. Fairly equal lows right there. What's up, Victor? TradeX or Traders blog? Hell yeah. I remember I was talking to you on Twitter the other day. One thing I don't like about it is the closure here. So we had these equal lows and we just kind of wicked off of it and came into this fair value gap. So, I mean, yes, we did leave a gap here. So it's more at a decisional point. I would say, the next draw on this time frame is going to be that, what's it called? That imbalance right here. But want a little more because that closure kind of tells me that that got bottled up pretty aggressively. Especially when you have that move, that massive move down into it. That can tell me that that was kind of a stop hunt for all these lows. What are indices doing? Yeah, I think that probably still went slower here. We'll see though. I mean, usually this is the kind of move I want to see into a liquidity pool, but it just happened. The time's weird. It happened right at 11 or right towards the end of that window where I usually want to take trades on indices. What do I think about SPX short at the 40-33 imbalance? Yeah, I could definitely see it. But again, I don't really trade indices around, after, definitely not at all during lunch. Sometimes I do at the PM, but I don't know. My track record's better in the morning, so I'm not sure if I would take it. I mean, the price action, I see it, but time and price is also important. Adeleiki said GMP. My traction so far in this imbalance, for any kind of lengthy reversal, I would look for you to get above these highs and close, because otherwise I could see you as just rebalancing this right here before more downside. Right, so you're at that decisional point where I'd probably cool on it and just let it develop. Give the market a chance to show you its hand, because here you could see a reversal. Ideally, I'd say if you could push under that low with displacement, I'd look for it to come down and retrace into this, or maybe even take the low. Seeing at that the 4 hour, the institutional structure is still pretty bearish as long as we're not closing above this. Really, I'd say this swing high, because that's where the impulse move started. But we are at that daily imbalance right here, the fill. So again, decisional point. Let's say the impulse move on the daily would be that right there. So if we do start to see bullish momentum to the upside, I would look for us to come to a premium of this, but no indication for that yet. Yeah, I guess so. Final consensus. SPY, yeah, that's whatever you call it. We filled the weekly imbalance, came back down into a discount. So we're really at that decisional point where price is hanging around equilibrium. Things can get a little fickle if we just start to consolidate here. So on the weekly chart, if we close a weekly without making any big movement to the downside or any movement to the upside, really, I would look for, at a minimum, this imbalance up here at 42.14. The daily chart could be drawing a little bit lower. Again, the way the market closes today is going to give us a little bit more indication. Really looking for how we move into 4 p.m., the U.S. equity close. So again, we're sitting at equilibrium. Yes, we've dumped into a lot of potential reversal zones, but let's be patient and give the market time to show its hand. So that's the same for both NOS and SPX. Bitcoin, I see potential upside. All right, for the dailies, maybe Monday, the first part of the week, bullish, kind of like last week, and then I would see a push to the downside after that. But I do see more upside initially for crypto and Bitcoin. Euro JPY, ideal setup. I'm getting ready for shorts. Let's see what we're doing actually right here. If we react nicely and get a break under here and leave a gap, I'll probably take a sell. Yeah, Euro JPY is one to keep your eye on for sells. I think that we can't clean this high out, came into this supply zone, filled that 4-hour fair value gap. Pretty ideal in my opinion. It's not given us all the confirmation, so to speak. The 15-minute has given us a breakdown of the with displacement, but we did not close under these lows, so I'm a little suspect. But if this 1 minute gets under this with displacement, I might take a sell. So overall, looking for down on EJ. I would look for this weekly candle to close to the downside. I don't know why. Okay, never mind. I read that wrong. Dollar CAD. Overall, I think the weekly will close to the upside. I think it's pulling towards this high. The daily, though, I could see a little bit of retracement or consolidation before doing so. And good old gold. I think this is going to be a big buy to sell. So I would look for some upside, but then overall after that, I would look for the weekly to move to the downside pretty aggressively as we're nearing a lot of liquidity with all these lows. Give me till later today and I'll write that up too in a tweet. Oh yeah, I forgot. Euro dollar. Potential upside here. I was originally looking for more down, but depending on this daily closure, if we can close bullish here, that'll tell me we're drawing up towards this high, probably up into this imbalance. It's more in a premium. I think GU has a potential for some SMT divergence here with euro dollar, because we're seeing higher lows on euro dollar and lower lows on GU. So that could tell me that we want maybe this area right here, which is the previous daily high as of now, but just that clean high and this imbalance. I think that's an ideal zone to target. So yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys coming through. Again, just be patient. There's no point in rushing, especially when we're at these pivotal areas. So sit back, let the market show you its hand, and then act. Don't be anxious or eager to be a participant unless you have a clear direction. Now if you have a clear direction, act on it. That's how we got to stay consistent. But yeah, until tomorrow, I will see you guys later. I appreciate it. Peace.